Most people don't lack discipline. They lack decisiveness. Because before every difficult action, a quiet conversation begins. A negotiation. You should wake up early, but maybe just a few more minutes. You should start working, but maybe after one more distraction. This conversation feels harmless, even reasonable. You are not refusing the work. You are simply delaying it, adjusting the timing. But every negotiation weakens something important: your authority over yourself. Because the moment action becomes optional, discipline begins to erode. The mind learns that commitments are flexible. Rules can be adjusted. Decisions can be renegotiated. And slowly, the pattern grows stronger. You delay once, then again, then again. Each delay seems small, almost insignificant, but repetition transforms small actions into habits, and habits quietly define your life. The habit of starting immediately, or the habit of negotiating first. Disciplined people remove this conversation entirely. When something must be done, they begin. No debate, no delay, no internal argument. Because they understand something most people ignore. Every negotiation with yourself strengthens hesitation, and hesitation slowly destroys discipline. The first negotiation may seem harmless, but the mind remembers it. It learns that resistance works. It learns that discomfort can be postponed. And once that pattern begins, every difficult action becomes harder to start. Not because the work changed, because your standard changed. You taught yourself that commitment is negotiable, and the mind will continue testing that weakness again and again, until hesitation becomes your default response. That is why discipline begins with a simple rule. A rule most people never enforce. Stop negotiating with yourself, because the moment the negotiation ends, action becomes simple. The mind negotiates for one reason. It wants comfort. Not success, not progress, comfort. Because every meaningful action creates resistance. Work requires effort. Discipline requires discomfort. Growth requires pressure. The mind reacts to that pressure immediately. It looks for relief, a delay, a softer option. And that search appears as negotiation. You should start now, but maybe later. You should finish the task, but maybe tomorrow. Each negotiation promises the same thing: temporary relief, just a little more comfort. But comfort has a cost. Every time you delay action, you strengthen avoidance. You reinforce hesitation. The mind begins to expect negotiation. It learns the pattern. Resistance appears, and the debate begins. Should I start now, or wait a little longer? Do it today, or tomorrow? These questions seem small, but they weaken discipline, because every debate delays movement, and delay destroys momentum. Disciplined people approach this differently. They refuse the negotiation entirely. The moment the task appears, they begin. No internal debate, no search for the perfect mood, no waiting for energy. Just action. This simple habit changes everything. Because when negotiation disappears, decisions become immediate. Movement becomes automatic. The mind stops searching for escape. It learns that resistance does not matter. The action will happen anyway. And when the mind understands that, hesitation begins to disappear, not because discipline becomes easier, but because the negotiation is gone. If you're serious about building this mindset, follow and subscribe. Everything here is about discipline, focus, and real progress. Every time you negotiate with yourself, something weakens. Not your intentions, your authority. Because the moment you make a clear decision, then allow yourself to renegotiate it, the mind learns a dangerous lesson. Your word has no weight. You say you will wake up early, then you delay. You say you will start now, then you wait. On the surface, these look like small compromises. A few minutes, a small delay. One exception. A discipline is not destroyed by one dramatic collapse. It is destroyed by repeated permission. Permission to wait. Permission to soften the rule. Permission to move the standard whenever discomfort appears. And once that pattern is established, the mind begins expecting it. Resistance appears, and immediately the negotiation begins. Maybe later, maybe tomorrow, maybe after one more break. This is the real cost, not just delayed action, internal erosion. Because when your mind stops trusting your decisions, hesitation becomes automatic. Starting becomes heavier. Consistency becomes unstable. The task itself may not be difficult, but now the act of beginning feels difficult. That is what self-negotiation does. It adds friction to every action. And over time, that friction spreads. You delay work. You delay training. You delay difficult conversations. You delay decisions that should already be made. Soon, your life is no longer being shaped by discipline. It is being shaped by avoidance. And avoidance has a quiet way of stealing years, not through one major failure, but through small, daily retreats, small, undone tasks, small, postponed actions. This is how people lose command over themselves, not because they are incapable, but because they keep teaching the mind that discomfort wins. And once discomfort starts winning consistently, discipline stops being a standard. It becomes a suggestion. That is the fracture. The moment your own instructions stop carrying force. And when that happens, you are no longer leading yourself. You are following resistance. The solution is not complicated, but it is strict. You remove the negotiation. Not sometimes. Not when you feel strong. Every time. When the decision has already been made, there is nothing left to discuss. The alarm rings. You stand up. The task appears. You begin. No debate, no delay, no emotional bargaining. At first, the mind will resist this rule. It will search for exceptions. It will try to reopen the conversation. But the standard does not change. Action comes first. Comfort comes later. And slowly, something begins to shift. The mind realizes that resistance no longer changes the outcome. The negotiation has ended. Once that happens, starting becomes easier. Momentum becomes stable. Consistency becomes natural. Not because discipline became comfortable, because hesitation disappeared. You enforced a standard, and the mind adapted to it. That is where real discipline begins. Not in motivation, not in emotion. In the moment you stop bargaining with yourself. Make the decision once, then follow it every day. The mind will eventually obey the rules you enforce. If this message resonated with you, like the video and subscribe. The next decision is already waiting.